home, your business, do the remote logins, can help you, troubleshoot issues that you have with, emails, any kind of servers, anything like that. Technology, we were talking about the Netflix.
Absolutely. So just be aware that if you are sharing your logins with people that are outside of your house, that you're probably going to have to tell them to get their own account, or you're going to have to pay a certain amount of money. And they're going to charge your account automatically. They keep your credit card on file, and there will be a warning that pops up. But if you don't just go past it, just realize what that's saying. Because if you have 3 or 4 people that you've given your login to, you could find that your price is doubling or tripling. If they're using it at the same time you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, Nate, we also have another one teed up here. Officials sound nationwide alarm over cyber attacks against schools.
Yeah, so the schools were the thing that triggered the particular news story, but they actually talk about it is businesses across the spectrum, government agencies and these things. And one of the things that we tell people, because we are a big proponent of cybersecurity, it's one of the things that we provide for our clients. I tell any business owner, I have one question for you. How do you detect and respond to cyber incidents? Ooh. If you don't have a good answer to that question, you are in a world of trouble. Now, you don't have to know every single technical aspect of it, but you should have a plan. You should know roughly that there are measures in place and that you do have processes if something is detected to be able to respond to that and sort of know that process. It's a lot like having a fire extinguisher and a fire plan. If you don't have those things, you're going to find yourself in a world of hurt if you do happen to have a problem. And also, if you don't know how you're detecting things, or you don't have anything in place to detect something, we all hear about ransomware where all the files get locked, and that's a big problem. But a bigger problem is somebody who is sitting in your system just watching what you're doing, taking your data, and you don't even know about it.
Yeah, what percentage of the respondents, probably close to 90%, don't have a plan?
It's actually about 60% of businesses across the nation have no idea, when they're actually questioned on any specifics or, like I said, that question, how do you detect problems?
Right.
They have no answer to it as a business owner. And, ultimately, you want to make sure that you're able to answer those questions and answer them with confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're a business owner and you're out there, you have, no idea what you're doing, or you just want to check up and, make somebody to ride shotgun with you and make sure that those things are being done for you, please reach out to us at vineit.com and we'll be happy to do a free consult.
Important, all these different issues. Of course, we're moving into that, been moving into, but we're going even further into this, this technology age, and it's not going away. And there's a lot of concerns that people have, and it gets confusing. You're running a business, you got social media to think about, you got, all these different areas that, just 15, 20 years ago, you didn't have that.
It's so true, and there are a lot of weird little things that people can make mistakes, especially if you got a smaller business and you're kind of a DIY guy. You're trying to handle all this yourself. One of the things we see commonly is somebody will hire somebody to build a website and a social media brand for them, and then they find out that, oh my goodness, they actually own my domain name. They didn't register it to me. They registered it to their company.
Yes.
All the logins are controlled by someone else. We actually had 2 people during the hurricane that has passed contact us because their IT guy actually, basically, was taken out of the picture for over a week.
Wow.
And he had all of their logins to everything. So when they ran into trouble, no one could help them.
Wow.
And so, make sure you're working with somebody that's got a team. I always tell people, avoid that chuck in the truck, single point of failure, single person system.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's take a quick break there. We come back more with Nate Ginter, Vine IT, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Another great example of our local area business owners that we bring on the program. We interview, talk about these current events, but also things happening on a business level and even a personal life if you have, home computers or iPads, etc., like almost everybody does in almost every room. So vineit.com. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. Taking a quick break. When we come back, Nicole Mann makes history as first Native American woman in space. This is from SpaceX's 5th manned mission. We'll be right back. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, everybody. It's the Captain, Matt Bruce, and you're listening to my buddy, Brandon Rhymes, a consumer quarterback. Sell, Brandon, sell.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
Have you desired more income and more freedom in your life? Now is your time. Keller Williams Realty has just launched our own real estate school, and you can get licensed for free. I'm Brandon Rhymes, host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And for the first 3 people who reach out, I will personally coach you. 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. ConsumerQB.com. ConsumerQB.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
So here's a quick clip. If you haven't seen the movie, the real Anthony Fauci movie, you got to check it out. Check out this intro. They got a 5-minute release here at the website, therealanthonyfaucimovie.com.
Fauci, you're attacking science.
Robert F. Kennedy.
Science has an air of authority. So people who want to push back on authority, push back on science. Science is about constant skepticism, constant questioning, and you didn't see any of that.
You didn't see any of that questioning the science. If you question the science, so the whole tone of that, talking about the vaccine, the emergency authorization use, the whole tone and the whole landscape was just, hey, if you speak out against this, it just was so totalitarian, Marxist.
Well, you said it in that you didn't hear a lot of other voices, because those voices were literally being taken off of social media platforms and news networks. When 60+% of the advertising for MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News are being paid by, that advertising revenue is more than half of the company's revenue. Do you think there's going to be a lot of strong voices coming out about that?
Exactly.
The answer is no. That's a natural market function. But then on top of that, taking people's, podcasts and online content off of Twitter, off of YouTube, off of these places where you might hear an alternative, narrative to what's going on. That removal is literally silencing any sort of dissent. And the scary thing is that, obviously, we want to take hate speech and things like that off. There has to be a mechanism for that.
Right.
But what is the harm in somebody saying, here's what I think is going on, or here's an alternate idea?
Yeah.
Why would that be harmful if what the official narrative is saying is factually true?
Right.
One of the really interesting cases was somebody who got removed for actually talking about how the vaccine had no ability to stop transmission of the virus.
Right.
That could not possibly be a function of it. They were removed. They said that was anti-scientific, and they were removed from it. My question is, why is there never any comeback to that? Why is there never any, hey, we apologize, we removed this person.
Exactly.
He was speaking the truth. He was being scientific.
Yeah, exactly.
You never see it swing the other way, and it's a real it's going to be a real problem, not just with issues like the pandemic, but where I see a very interesting future in which the YouTube is a private company, or Google's a private company. They can do what they want with their platform, but it has almost become Twitter and these other sorts of things that are really used by both sides of different issues to get their message out. Well, they can really manipulate the public by what they not even a total ban, just what they call a shadow ban, where that content, it's still there, but it just doesn't come up for people.
Right. Well, they're public utilities in a lot of people's mind.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's the new town square. This is where you go to post information. It's the old, in biblical, we were talking about Dennis Prager's books during the break. It's the old water well.
Yes.
People gather around the water well. They're getting their water out. That's where people would meet their wives in many cases, right?
Absolutely. And my hope is that, the market has, through the evolution of a lot of internet technologies, has done a fairly good job of curating itself over time. But it is a slow ship to turn. And the example I always give is, when was the last time you logged into MySpace?
Never.
That was the height. When I was growing up, everybody my age, everybody commuted through MySpace, and Facebook was not really a thing. And then slowly MySpace got more and more bloated with ads and just became a very unwieldy thing to even try to get to the content that you're getting to. And then Facebook came around and said, hey, we're going to have a real clean interface over here. And people migrated over. So I'm hoping if that same sort of market mentality will apply to those Twitter platforms and things like that there will be an alternative that comes along. There was a day when there was not Twitter, and that was in 2008 is when Twitter started. So it's not like it's been around for 100 years.
Right. Yeah. Great point. Nate Ginter on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Vine IT. I'm Brandon Rhymes, your host of the show. Twitter. Now you got Getter, kind of launched by Jason, forgot his name, and then Steve Bannon, some of that group, Peter Navarro. And then you also have Truth Social, launched by President Trump. So it'll be interesting to see. But it's when you're the first to market, you become known as the Kleenex, the Coca-Cola. Sure. I'm going to go get a Coke. Even if you're getting a Pepsi, you call it a Coke, right? So you're first to market. MySpace, I get it. It was, that was kind of interesting to see how it did switch over. I want to jump into the Gates Foundation and the kind of we were talking about too. In that movie, the Real Anthony Fauci movie.com. Go there. It's free for another 6 or 7 days. The Real Anthony Fauci movie.com. They talked about how the Rockefellers, Rockefeller got hit with all these different cases against antitrust cases, right? So he rolled it into a foundation. The Rockefeller Foundation did some good, probably built some houses or whatever. And then the same is true now with Gates, right? I want you to explain what you're talking about earlier about with Bill Gates, how he went from Microsoft and then the browser, and then now he's launched Bill Gates Foundation, which supposedly, he's such a great guy, he's doing all these great works. Well, you got to watch the movie, see what they're actually doing behind the scenes.
Absolutely, and it's also a way of him pursuing various projects that he would want to be able to pursue in a tax-free nature as a nonprofit. So, for example, one of his big projects that he's been working on for some time is building these nuclear power plants. Yeah. And these nuclear power plants being a little different than traditional ones, they actually run on the waste from the old style.
Yes.
And so that's something that is a technology that if it actually is able to reach fruition, he was going to be building one in China. And then we put some trade tariffs in place that made that an impossibility. Yep. But if he can get that up and running somewhere in the world, well, yes, of course, it's great and beneficial that he's gone and done that in their foundation, but they can also still own the patents. And those things can still be spun off and resold in a for-profit venture that he got to get at, say, a reduced cost that somebody else, if you're, if you imagine Duke Energy goes out and tries to build something, well, they're a for-profit company.
Right.
Everything that they buy, everything that they spend is taxed. And, that project is, by its very nature, far more expensive than you can do when you're playing with money that's not taxed.
Exactly. I saw that documentary too. But take me back to the correlation of, because he went from Microsoft, world's richest man. Now, of course, he slipped a few spaces or whatever, but the browser aspect. Talk about that. That was interesting.
Yeah. So in the mid 90s, Microsoft was embroiled in a very controversial lawsuit that ended up costing them about $90 million, which was a lot more to them at the time. That's pocket change for them now. But the whole reason for the lawsuit, it's kind of funny to look at in hindsight. Microsoft was packaging Internet Explorer, which is a web browser a lot of us have heard of, with their operating system Windows, which today you would not bat an eyelash at. When you go buy a Macintosh laptop, you've got the Safari browser. When you buy a Google phone, you've got the Chrome browser. So that has become common practice. But at the time, there were a lot of competitors out there that were making their own browsers, and they said, we can't possibly compete if Microsoft starts giving away this browser for free with their operating system. Government, please help us. And what happened was, they had a whole committee and investigation, and they declared that that was, in fact, it met the level of antitrust. Fined Microsoft like $90 million. Bill Gates was furious, literally telling these people that were deposing him, you're asking questions that don't make any sense, and this whole thing is ridiculous.
Wow.
Like watching him go off on people was very entertaining, and you can still find some of the clips online.
Yeah.
But he was right. He was actually correct in that case. He could see the future where other people couldn't. And yes, of course. Can you imagine getting some sort of device these days where it doesn't? The whole reason you want it is because of all these cool things it does, but the people that make the phone aren't allowed to put them in there for you. So you have to go hunt them all down.
Yeah. No, exactly. And then so that leads into the foundation where now he's working with, allegedly from the movie, the real Anthony Fauci movie.com.
Okay.
Is he is working with and perhaps in control and cahoots with the World Health Organization. They come out and say we've got to do these emergency youth authorizations. He's according to the movie, and involved with the vaccine pretty heavily. And so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, and especially if you get a red wave in November, like almost everybody's predicting, if there's some accountability. I'd love to see some accountability in this.
I'd love to see some questions.
Yeah.
More than anything else. So, I never assume that I know what's going on when I have no information. I'd like some investigation to be done to make sure. And the biggest thing that I'd like to see as a citizen of this country is some lessons learned. And I think we've learned a lot about our supply chains, a lot about where our weaknesses are there. And there's actually been some good in that stimulus package. Although it's expensive, some great stuff's going to come out of that to bring manufacturing of a lot of stuff back here.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to hold you over into the third segment.
Sure.
I want to ask you one more question, then we're going to bring in our friend Nick Schriver from Decorating Elves here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Make sure you follow us online at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram, Twitter, Getter. Also, follow the show, consumerqb.com. We've got our podcast out there, Spotify, iTunes, and we'd love to connect with you with our Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We'll be right back here. More with Nate Ginter coming up.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify. Or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Five, four, three, two, one.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show, hot property listing, 3362 Cedar Crest Loop. This is a gorgeous home, open floor plan. You get a large lot as well, gated community with a large lot at 3362 Cedar Crest Loop up in Spring Hill, Florida. This is a nice home. You got a pool, spa, large backyard, beautiful property at 3362 Cedar Crest Loop in Spring Hill. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, Nate Ginter in the house, Vine IT. Quick shout out to our friend Ramin Kazami over at Heights Soft Wash, pressure washing company here in Tampa Bay. He does a great job. He does a soft wash, so he's not going to harm your plants, peel off your paint, anything like that. Does a great job, very well priced. Ramin Kazami, Heights Soft Wash, pressure washing here in Tampa Bay. Does a great job on our real estate properties. Highly recommend him. Give him a call, heightssoftwash.com. And Nate Ginter in the house. Nate, so I wanted to jump into some other topics here. Things trending. There's a lot of stuff in the news too. I know Google's the next article that we wanted to discuss. Google Pixel 7 Pro camera. Kind of a cool new deal.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I want to. Yeah.
So-
I want to ask you something else about Google after that.
Oh, absolutely. So one of the things I want to let people know, especially if you've got a little bit of an older phone out there, so Google, which is the maker of the Android platform, has actually just released their new line of phones. Absolutely top tier flagship quality, starting at $599. I'm not a Google pitchman. I'm paid nothing by them, but I've used all their products. They're excellent. They don't have a lot of bloatware or funky interfaces that don't get updated for a long time. Beautiful cameras on them, and right now at pretty much any major vendor you go to, Best Buy, even online at the Google store, they're giving higher than normal values for trading in older phones, and an additional $200 in cash back or Google Store credit. So you could end up walking away with a brand new flagship phone for $100, $200 in some cases. So
that's pretty cool. I'm thinking about getting a sat phone.
Oh, well, those are, I actually don't have a lot of experience with sat phones, but I can tell you, especially if you're out on the water, they're pretty much the only chance you've got.
Yeah, satellite phone, and then with hurricanes,
absolutely
potential for World War III. I mean, there's this thing going on in Russia and Ukraine.
Oh, is there some kind of? Have
you heard of that one? Yeah, have you heard of that one? The whole political class is like cheerleading the whole thing. Let's put more money in it. Let's push.
Well, what's insane is the idea that that they're going to shame like woke style Vladimir Putin into coming out and going, I was wrong and I'm sorry. That's literally never going to happen.
Right.
So you have to give him some other escape valve to get out of the situation.
Right.
And when you have the president of the Ukraine going on television saying there will be no deal,
right,
you are really cutting off that exit strategy.
Right.
So his only other choice is to level the country or start using nuclear weapons, which is obviously the nightmare scenario. So I would really, if you're, I'm very, pro-Ukraine. I think, it's great. I don't want to see an independent nation get crushed. But at the same point in time, you have to realize the ultimate foe that you're dealing with, if you give them no other exit strategy to get out of a situation with some degree of grace, you're going to have a major problem.
Yeah, and they've already said openly that they're aligned with China. They've the President Xi said they're working together. They're married together. And then hey, let's worry about our own country right now. Going into this election, you look at the economy and inflation. That's the number one thing. It's not abortion like the left wants you to think, or Sleepy Joe wants you to think. It's the economy. People are hurting, man. People are hurting. They're about to get their electric cut off during one of the winter. Some people are saying it's going to be a really tough winter here. So economics is what really matters, and we're sending so much money overseas. We need to keep that money here. What about our southern border? They're more worried about the Russian-Ukraine border than our southern border. It's amazing to me.
It is wild when you see the logic that is applied to another country's issues that they refuse to apply to our own country.
Yeah.
Which is very very interesting, and that I always say, I don't care what you do with money if you're spending your money.
Right.
When you're spending my money, now we have an issue, because you're not really making decisions for you. You're making decisions for my wallet, and that always bothers me.
Yeah, it really does. It's and you look at that, it's a slush fund. It's pretty much known that there's so much political, nepotism, all that happening at a high level, and it happens where they release these trillions of dollars or billions of dollars, and it goes to Ukraine, and there's no accountability. Like you said, back to the accountability, right? Where's the ledger? Where's the accounting for that?
Well, especially when the Ukraine situation, as heated as it is something that we had a definite hand in. I forget if it was Leon Panetta, but whoever's the head of the CIA in 2008, there's a clip of him on The Daily Show actively, literally looking at the camera and saying, because John's asking him about, hey, most of the Ukrainians are pro-Russian. And the head of the CIA looks directly into the camera and goes, oh, for now, but we at the CIA are working on that. Wow. Wink, wink. Like literally announcing we're trying to manipulate the population of another country to go against, the thing that is most popular to them, because we think that benefits us. If nuclear weapons start flying, that benefits no one.
No one. Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but yeah. All right, Nate Ginter, Vine IT. Check him out online, vineit.com. Always a pleasure, man.
Oh, love being here, Brandon. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks for coming in. All right, coming up, Nick Schriver, decorating Elves. expert contributor, outdoor lighting, real estate values, improves your values in real estate, adds that level of safety to the real estate, the walkability, the usability, and more. Nick Schriver, Decorating Elves, coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Plus, feel-good story of the day. Nicole Mann makes history as first Native American woman in space. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here. We are looking for real estate investors. We've got a new relationship bringing us a tremendous amount of off-market real estate investment opportunities. So text the word investor to our hotline, 813-750-0550. Off-market real estate investment opportunities. Text investor to 813-750-0550. Brandon Rhymes here, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, looking for real estate investors. Send us a text. Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. We always like to feature our real estate listings live on air, and we got some hot property listings here in Tampa Bay. About 45 listings, vacant land, commercial properties, and of course residential homes for sale. PlatinumMVPteam.kw.com. 202 Westchester is another one of our hot listings. This property is a nice home. It's got a screened-in pool. Beautiful property at over out in East Hillsborough County. Do we have that, John, up there on so I can see that one? 202 Westchester Hills Lane, Valrico, 3,500 square foot, 5 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2-car garage situated on a cul-de-sac. Got a saltwater pool there. It's a heated saltwater pool, pool enclosure, stainless steel appliances, granite countertops, brand new roof and AC units. Beautiful home at 202 Westchester Hills in Valrico. And you can see all of our listings at PlatinumMVPteam.kw.com.
Buy dirt, find one you can't live without.
All right, feel good story of the day.
Tell me something good.
All right, earlier this month, SpaceX fifth manned mission to the International Space System launched NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. At the helm was commanders Nicole Mann, the first Native American woman to go to space. The 45-year-old former Marine Corps pilot is from Northern California and a member of the Waikiki tribe, apologize if I mispronounced that, of Round Valley Indian tribes, and joined NASA's astronaut corps in 2013. She will spend 6 months on the ISS conducting more than 200 experiments alongside fellow NASA astronaut Josh Cassandra, Koki Wakata of Japan, and Anna Kinkina of Russia. So there you go. Feel good story of the day. I love those first. Nicole Mann, first Native American woman in space. Really cool story. Love that stuff. All right, let's go to the phone lines here. Nick Schriver, Decorating Elves. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, hey, Brandon. How are you?
Doing well, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing really good, man. Enjoying some beautiful sunshine. Sorry I couldn't get in the studio with you, but glad to be on the phone.
Absolutely. Yeah, give us a little update. What are you seeing out there, my friend?
Well, right now, man, as far as our business goes, we're like, chin deep in holiday lighting. We've got these Halloween projects that have gotten really popular that we're kind of trying to finish up. So people get 2 good weekends going into that Halloween, and they're starting to see those parties kind of fire up this weekend. So got some things we're finishing with that. We just brought like 10 new people on our crew this week. So right now I'm on site training a bunch of new elves. to do holiday lighting so that we can make this big push in the next 6 weeks going into the Thanksgiving break. So when everybody kind of turns these on. So that's kind of what we're doing as a company. And then obviously we're also always doing our outdoor lighting service because now that we've got a little chill in the air, people are wanting to get out and enjoy that outdoor room and in those outdoor settings. So we got some guys taking care of that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I was enjoying my Decorating Elves lighting the other night. We were sitting outside. That first cool breeze came through, and I was like, all right, I'm going to pull out the fire pit, light the fire, come outside. Had the brand new baby boy out there. We're just kind of chilling outside, enjoying the fire. And, of course, we had the Decorating Elves lighting. So I can tell you firsthand experience, Decorating Elves, Nick Schriver and his team, first-class organization. They do such a great job. Nick, tell us a little bit more how you can help folks.
Well, we can definitely, help them. And one of the things we try to tackle when we're doing lighting is the 5 benefits, right? So we try to address beautification, making sure that lighting is making a property, especially residential property, more beautiful. And we do that by enhancing the accents and the features that are already there. We help with usability by making it so that they can use it, do what you just described, make it so you can use it in the evening when you're trying to enjoy it. We also help increase the safety and safe passage. So the ability to transgress or move through the property, safely. We also help with safety in a manner that we create the sense of safety. So there's no shadows, there's nothing hidden. You feel more secure in your home. And then like always, when you do all these things to your home, you add all this improvement, you're always going to increase the value. So anytime you put a few dollars back into your own property, you get all the great benefits of using it and the beautification, but you also get the increase in the value that you get from that too. So those are some just easy key topics there. But I am going to tell you that if people are interested in holiday lighting, which is the Christmas season, a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's October, it's way too early. Literally, we're like a week or two away from being done with taking jobs this year because the labor market is so rough that we are struggling getting people in here to do what we got to do. So at some point, we're going to be, you're not going to be able to produce the volume that we're used to doing because we don't have the right people here to help us with that. So any consumers are out there thinking, oh, I still got time or I don't need to call them right away. The reality is you need to get on the schedule, right, before all the reservations are gone.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Reach out. Decorating Elves, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, can help you with your outdoor lighting. This time of year is awesome, and you got just a nice crisp, the weather's slacked off, the humidity's down, people are out enjoying, taking those evening walks and just enjoying the outside, and Nick and his team can help you utilize that space more effectively. Nick, what are some of the coolest decorations or maybe the most extreme type decorations that you've done? I know you've seen some pretty cool ones.
Well, this is kind of like the meat, like last week and this week are kind of like the meat of our Halloween. And Halloween still kind of astonishes me that it's such a big thing. And this year we've really been asked to do some really big projects, nothing that's like maybe ridiculously crazy or like over the top, but just the scale. We've gotten one that we kind of are pulling out of today where it's, we've got a huge graveyard scene. We've got a huge jack-o'-lantern patch. We've got these big, huge straw bales. We've got great lighting everywhere. We've got all this mini lights and all these trees done up. And then we're going to come back next Friday. They're throwing a huge party, and we're going to just finish the look, right? And I don't know exactly how many people they're bringing in, but we've got another project that we're going to be finishing up and starting Monday. That's the same thing that's in that Halloween category that people are just wanting to celebrate. So, that's really been a big thing that kind of is, it's not any one single thing, but it's kind of just that there's 3 or 4 people out there that are going, yeah, let's do this season. Let's throw some parties. Let's have some good time. Whether, I don't know if they're going into an election or they're just coming out of being like, we're so sick of COVID. We haven't seen our friends in so long. We haven't done this in a few years or whatever those ideologies are that they're getting them want to entertain, but there are people out there entertaining.
Right.
We're helping them with it. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the real estate aspect of it to improve the value. And especially even when you're taking those photography, getting that Fabre Frameworks photography done on your real estate listings to have those night shots, those twilight shots. People really love that. And it just adds that new dimension to your real estate listing also, Nick.
Well, absolutely. And, when the market's starting to loosen up, and I think that's kind of what's happening here. I'm not the exact professional to give that analysis, but I do see that there's things that are kind of maybe sitting out there a little longer than they were, and you're trying to differentiate your house or the residential property that you're trying to sell from another one. If you got great outdoor lighting and you didn't photograph it, then shame on you. You got some work to do. But if you did, usually you're going to get that more sophisticated buyer that's willing to spend a few extra bucks, looking at that property because they understand it, they know it, and they know how good it looks.
That's right. Yeah, and we're talking with Nick Schriver here, Decorating Elves on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes, PlatinumMVPteam.kw.com. Residential listings in Hillsborough County, by the way, almost 2,200 properties available for sale at the end of September. At the end of September, 2,200 properties available for sale. Question becomes, how many of those 2,200 properties sold? The answer, 1,550. That gives us divide those two numbers, 71% absorption rate and a 1.41 months supply of inventory, Nick. So people that are saying, oh, well, the market's gone to, it's not good anymore. It's such a bad market. I'm not going to sell. The numbers say a different story, 1.4 months supply of inventory.
Now, tell me out here, Brandon, isn't 3 months, like 3 to 4 months, isn't that kind of like what the experts would say is like right kind of what you would consider a healthy market, like right kind of in an equilibrium? Is that about
close?
Right?
Yeah, close. 5 to 7 is actually what they call a balanced market.
Okay.
So we're all the way done at 1.4, and then you need to get to 5 to become a balanced market, and then anything above 7 is considered a buyer's market. That's when you had back in 2008 all that inventory flooding out from the banks. So many homes on the market, buyers could pick and choose, make creative offers, make lowball offers.
Yeah, well, I know things are still moving. I mean, I see some things, that are maybe they're not coming on the market and there's a line out the door. But I know they're sitting out there a little bit longer than they were, and then they're still moving. So, and like the economy in Tampa Bay is very strong. It's very strong, and unemployment is extremely low. And I can tell you that on the front end of spending the last 3 weeks trying to recruit for our seasonal business, that we're full effort in our staff, and literally I'm spending 40 plus hours the last 3 weeks in full effort recruiting, and our numbers our success on that is significantly lower than it's been in any previous year. So, that tells us a lot. The underlying reason is because those that want to work are employed. So, then you can start asking more whys, right? Why? But when those that want to work are employed, then you got to start figuring out ways like, well, are we pulling them from someone else? Do we have to give them more money? Do we, are we recruiting? We recruit a lot of people that just moved to the area. That's kind of, we found success in that.
Mm-hmm.
You just get into the area, you're looking for immediate work. You're not looking for something crazy difficult while you transition, and you're looking for something that's a little more consistent. We find a lot of success with our seasonal staff and those individuals, but with all of that said, like, I can't really go into some of the other economics. I'm not that sophisticated of an economic individual, but I know when unemployment is at all-time record lows and wages are at record highs and you can't get people to come in the door and work, it's because everybody that wants to work is employed. Now, there's a lot of other things out there. People say, oh, there's people that don't want to work, people that pulled out of the workforce. There's a lot of those things, and I'm not the guy that knows that. I just know sitting here on the ground in the business, trying to take care of customers, trying to recruit people to provide our product and service, that we're struggling with that on a daily, and we're putting our effort, like all of our effort, into it, because if we don't succeed there, we can't succeed anywhere else.
Right. No,
and
yeah,
so,
I love that. I appreciate that opinion, because you are a small to medium sized business. I mean, you're a company here in Tampa Bay that's struggling, and I think it's because of the overall climate that's been created. The overall climate with people are unsure of the economy. They're maybe they're still getting some government checks, welfare type checks, or there's funds coming in, and then people have been kind of put in a position where maybe they're waiting to see what's going to happen. It's an interesting time, but that's a good point, Nick. I'm glad you were able to elaborate on that.
Well, and I think technology has made it easier for the employees to just drop one job and go to the next and make
Right.
and just randomly, I don't know, like loosely date employers. Like, it's
Right.
like date an employer, kind of like Round Table, where 5-10 years ago these apps and all this availability wasn't nearly what it was. We used to post ads and then have people show up and then sort them out. Now, you're sorting through 3 or 4 different employment apps. You're doing enhanced ads. You're doing all these things to just pump it up, right? And then I've got one person full time right now that's focused on it. I've got myself and one of my other managers that we're working with him on every hour that we're not doing something else, pumping those numbers. And it's just kind of where we are. I'm, as a business owner, I'm not thrilled about it, right? Like, makes me sweat more than I normally would, because I don't normally fret over a lot of things. Like, all right, we're going to do what we can do. We're going to provide our service. We're going to take care of people. We're going to do what we do best. And at the end of the day, I'm going to sleep well because I knew I did my best. I knew I took care of my customers. I knew they were happy with our service. And, and that's the game. But, like, now we're getting to the point where we're going, all right, do we have enough people? And not only that, but do we have the right people? Because the other thing, too, that can be detrimental to a business,
right?
And these are mistakes we've had in the past, and we've learned from them. If we bring in the wrong people because we need people,
exactly,
then we're actually opening risk. We're opening the risk of our business, our image, our name, property damage, and lots of other things. So
right.
We have to manage that, right? So, all right, hey, I got 5 or 6 people that showed up, and I'm looking at them, and I'm going, this is not who's going to represent us.
Right.
They've got issues with, like they were not well behaved is probably the best way to put it, and they have a record with that.
Yeah.
There's other things like there's presentation. There's some other things that go with that, and you're going and. If they're struggling with instructions during our interviewing piece, they're going to struggle with instructions when we're trying to train them our techniques. So, those are other things that we're looking at as a business owner. So, I can basically, all the things I've already said here, and everybody out there that's listening that has a small business, because I know there's a lot of small business owners. There's a lot of what we call solopreneurs, and a lot of people out there that are just earning it. Maybe they're trades. Maybe they're just working for themselves. And, they're thinking about it, like, I can find sympathy in all of those individuals that are out there just struggling it, man, getting up every day, putting their socks and shoes on, their pants on, going and putting their best effort in, and then just being frustrated because I'm doing that too.
That's our time, Nick. Nick Schriver, Decorating Elves. What's the website?
It's www.decoratingelves.com, and it's 1-800-MYLITES, My Light.
All right, Nick. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Good stuff. And
Thanks,
we
Brandon.
want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.